Hello, my name is Alex Amansa along with Ruben Mencia, and we're part of CTV, Cowboy TV Club. Today we have James Warwick, a teacher. If you may introduce yourself.
Sure. I'm Mr. Warwick, and I teach pre-engineering here at Salinas High School in the morning, and then in the afternoon I move over to the wood shop where we teach a construction class.
That's nice. So how long have you been teaching here in Salinas High?
Well, here at Salinas High, this is like my 22nd or 23rd year. And before that, I was at North High for a number of years. So this is my 39th year teaching in total.
39th, wow. And have you been here and how many years is it for your whole career?
For my whole career, that would be the 39 years. I taught 3 years at a middle school in Southern California before moving up to the Central Coast here, where I started at North High and then moved over here the same year that the school reopened after the big earthquake, and they rebuilt the buildings and that kind of thing. I moved over here, which was a little closer to home. And my children were going to be going to high school here, and it just seemed like a good fit. So 39 years total teaching, 22 of them or so here at Salinas High School.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And I've heard that you're going to retire. This is your last year?
Well, who did you hear that from?
From Nichols.
Nichols, Minister Nichols. Yes, this is my last year teaching. And it's not because of the COVID. A lot of teachers across the country are retiring, us older teachers, because we're not so great at the technology. So that's kind of pushed some teachers over the edge, I think, into retirement. In my case, it's not bad. I've really enjoyed the challenge to learn the new technology, and I've been having a ton of fun with it actually. But it's just time to retire. Let somebody new come in and take this position, and see what else, what other challenges life has out there for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, so, and here we have Kajal, another member of CTV.
Kajal.
Hi, my name's Kajal.
Kajal, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And continue with the questions. What's your favorite part about teaching?
Oh gosh, my favorite part, I think, is not so much the class related stuff, but the stuff before class and after class. And when I walk across campus, it's those interactions with students that are not related to the curriculum, just those small conversations we have, the fun that the students make with my bald spot, or, you know, the goofy way I dress, or me making fun of them. It's that relationship you build with kids outside of the classroom. I love the classroom, but I love the coaching of the mountain bike experience and clubs. That's the best part of teaching for me, because you just get to learn about kids outside of the classroom. And that's usually the most exciting part of their lives.
Right. So, and then what's your least favorite part of teaching?
The least favorite part? Oh gosh, I would say meetings. I don't care for meetings, and teachers, there are times we have meetings, and I try and remember when I'm in a meeting what it's like for my students when they're in class, because sometimes people talk too long and they repeat themselves. And I find that's the same thing that happens in meetings. And then I ask myself, am I doing that to my students as well? Because I don't want to bore the heck out of them. So I try and keep it short and sweet, but I am known for talking a lot.
I think Nichols here agrees as well.
Nichols is agree. Of course.
All right, so if you could take the students on a field trip to anywhere in the world, where would you take them?
Oh, well, right now with all of the craziness at our state capitol, And having been there, not until I was probably 40 years old did I get to Washington, D.C. and learn so much more about history and picture where the Capitol was compared to the White House, compared to the Washington Memorial. I think if I could take kids on a field trip, I would take them to Washington, D.C. and go see all these memorials. And while we're there, we could talk about the engineering of these memorials and the construction of these places. So I could mix the curriculum in and get this, get a great trip in. And we do it on bicycles because we could get all around. We could go to the Vietnam Memorial. We could go to the Martin Luther King Memorial, and we could do that within minutes on bicycles. And maybe have, and Nichols would say, do it on an electric bike. Yeah, use e-bikes, you bet.
That sounds like a great plan. I've been to Washington, D.C. myself. It's really great.
Isn't it incredible? Yeah. Until you go to Washington, D.C., a certain amount of government and politics and history doesn't really come alive until you've been there. Yeah, exciting place.
Since you've been teaching for so long, I'm pretty sure you have some like funny stories. Nichols mentioned there's something about a shoe.
Oh, sure. Probably my most infamous shoe story, you bet. So many years ago when I was at North High, back in the early 90s, tagging was a very big deal in our community, right? People would spray paint or use markers. And one day I was in the shop, the wood shop, on a Saturday morning, and I heard the back door rattling a little bit. So I thought somebody was trying to come in. So I opened up the door, and there was a student that I had in class, and he's marking up the back of my door with, gang numbers and stuff. And he took off running, and I took off chasing him. And at one point I was chasing him, and we were running pretty fast. That's when I was younger, of course. And his shoe came off as he was running. He literally ran right out of his shoe. And I reached down and scooped that shoe up, and in one motion I threw it, and I whacked him right upside the head. I kid you not. I hit him right in the ear, and boom, he went down on the ground. And then I ran over and I held him down. And I was in the front yard of an older lady's home, and she was out sweeping her porch. And she came over with the broom, and she started beating me on the head with the broom, saying, "Get off that young man." And I'm saying, "Call the police," because it was a really big, people were really tired of the tagging in the city. So anyway, it turns out that student later thanked me. He came to class and thanked me because he was in a gang, and this was his excuse to get out of the gang because the court was recommending certain things that he did. And this was one way for him to get out of it because he had to do some remediation. So just another old shoe story. Nichols.
That's interesting. Yeah, thank God he's able to get out the game.
Yeah. And hopefully he stayed out of gangs. I still remember his name. I won't share his name with you, of course, but I often wonder what happened to that young man, right?
Yeah. Hopefully he's doing good things now.
Hopefully.
All right. So when, before all this, what would have been like a good day at school when we were in person?
Oh, great day if I was here at school. Okay. A great day would have been, I start by running up, maybe checking my mailbox and seeing some other teachers who might be with their coffee in their hand and kind of grumpy, because a lot of us teachers are grumpy in the morning. You ever have any of those? I bet you have, right? And then trying to make them smile. One of the things that I like to do is see if I can change someone's behavior by just doing something or saying something and leave them walking away with a feeling happier than they were before they saw me. And then maybe I come back to class and have a couple students waiting here who want to talk about bicycling or a project they're working on, and then have class come in and say good morning and have a great lesson going on where students are participating and they're busy with their hands, they're making things. In the classes I teach, we're always building and making things, which leads to really incredible projects and then some projects that don't quite work out, and we have to problem solve, which is really challenging. And then the best part is when the students say goodbye and they say thank you. And when I moved over here to Salinas High School, I started getting a lot of thank yous for teaching, and I wasn't used to that. And that's a really great thing for a teacher to hear a student say, hey, thank you, Mr. Warwick. Have a great day. That was a fun project, whatever. I'll see you tomorrow. That's like a perfect day.
If you could pass on any wisdom to any students, what would you say?
To teachers or to students?
Anyone, actually.
Anyone. Well, if they were teachers, I would say, remember that you're not teaching your curriculum like a history teacher. You're not really teaching history as much as you are teaching students. That's more important, right? First, you have to hook the students, get them to know that you care and that you enjoy what your subject matter, but that's not that important. What matters is what's going on in your students' lives. Because one thing I found out is that every time there's a problem with a student or an issue with a student, there's a reason. And there's probably something happening at home or in their personal life that creates that reason to have some kind of effect in the classroom. Usually it's a negative effect. There's always a reason for that. And then for students, I would just say, you know what? Get to know your teachers. They're people too, right? Some are maybe more exciting than others. Get to know your teachers. Get involved in school. If you're just going to class and that's all you're doing and going home and playing video games, that sucks. That is boring to me, right? Every kid, like Mr. Nichols would say, every kid has a story, right? Every teacher has a story. What's your history? What's your life about, right? And if you can get kids to be involved in school and activities, now they're going to be better people. And later in life, they're going to give back to their community. Yeah.
So some pretty good advice there, which is why we're doing this interview, just getting to know your teachers.
Absolutely. That's what this is all about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks.
So on to kind of interests, what's a school sport or activity you enjoy watching?
Wow, I got to tell you, so having 4 children who were Cowboys and graduated, I've been to a lot of the sports. We did track, we did football, we did basketball, we did volleyball, we did the mountain bike team. I love anytime you get a bunch of students on a court or on a field and there's competition involved, there's going to be some exciting play going on. And I got to tell you, there's probably no better place to watch a football game in all of California than the pit, because you're right next to the coaches and the players. The distance from the field to the people in the stands is only about 8 to 10 feet. And I don't think there's a stadium that is as close to the players. Usually there's a track that runs around the football field. So you're 20, 30 feet back. But boy, you can hear everything that goes on. Some of it's good, some of it's not so good. So watching a football game in the pit, unbelievable.
Looks like Mr. Nichols really agrees with you there.
Yeah. Plus you get a heck of a tri-tip sandwich. That's a good sandwich there. Yeah. That's tri-tip in town right here at the pit.
So finally, what activities are you doing during this quarantine, staying at home?
Well, personally, I love gardening and working outside my home. And so I'm always doing that when, by the time I get home. I almost get a bike ride in maybe every other day. So I'm able to do that. Other than that, we've got a dog who always needs to be walked. You come home and your dog's so happy to see you. And you feel like you need to give that a little attention. And that's kind of about it. It's definitely keeping safe and a little distance, but still trying to get together with family whenever it's appropriate and safe.
What's your pet's name?
So Bailey is our dog, and Bailey's a beautiful dog from the SPCA, the pound. Right? They seem to make the best dogs. And Bailey looks like she puts on eyeliner every day. She's got these beautiful little eyebrows, and it looks like she puts her makeup on every morning, I tell you.
Wait, and how old is she?
Bailey is, let's see, Bailey is now 11 years old and still thinks she's a puppy. So still loves to wrestle and hide and grab toys and run around in the backyard and chase a ball. She's just not getting any older. I am, but she's not.
All right. I think, yeah. Wow, that's really interesting to hear from you. And
thank you, Alex.
yeah.
Yeah. You guys are interesting too. And one day you might find yourself thinking about being an educator, being a teacher. Everybody's a teacher, right? Every person walking the earth is teaching at some point. They just don't recognize it. It's a great career, right? Especially not because of the days off, summers or Christmas break, but if you want to stay young and you enjoy people, putting them together and becoming a teacher is just about the greatest service I think you can give, and give back to your community. Yeah.
It was great having you, Mr. Warwick. I really enjoyed the time.
Thank you, Kajal. I appreciate that. And Alex, any other questions, you guys?
Made me think a lot of things, and it's really nice to hear like a teacher who really cares for his students. And I can just from what you said, like I really believe you that
yeah.
Wow, and it kind of makes me sad, even though I haven't had a class with you that you're going to leave, but
well,
yeah, it's kind of fun to see a different teachers, even because I'm a freshman and I'm coming in on the computer, but still enjoy to see different teachers.
Exactly. It's amazing that even though we can't be together, we can still make connections, and people can tell when you're authentic, right? There's something about the way they look or the way they sound and speak that boy, that would be a good match. And I wish I would have had you guys as a student, but unfortunately, this is it.
It's all downhill from here.
It's all downhill from here.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. It has been a pleasure.
Mm-hmm. Yes, likewise.
Yes, it has.
All right. God bless you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And thank you so very much.
Got it.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right. Bye, you guys.
All right. See ya.